Don't fall in love in summer. 1. When he left, he told me not to fall in love in the summer. The summer night in Lingcheng was as hot and humid as a layer of tide, making it difficult to breathe. Li Chen stood on the ancient arch bridge, looking at the swaying lights on the river. She got out of the taxi and walked over slowly. At that moment, time seemed to be emptied, leaving only the sound of her footsteps and the sound of the night wind blowing. Ruan Qingni. The name has since left an imprint on his heart. Underscore 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 un. 2. Li Shen is not an impulsive person, he is used to suppressing all emotions in his heart. But when he met Ruan Qingni for the first time, he had a clumsiness that he couldn't control. Her temperament is out of step with the city. It seems to have come from the ice and snow in the north, but it appears in the humid and hot Lingcheng. You look familiar. The first time he spoke, his voice was dry. She raised her eyes to look at him and replied lightly, you probably saw me in the cinema. Yes, she is an actress. On the screen, she is light, shadow, and role. But at this moment, she was so real that he panicked. Underscore 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 un. 3. Li Shen began to get used to appearing by chance. He would sit in the cafe she frequented, pretending to be flipping through a book, but raise his eyes from time to time. He would wait on the boardwalk in the harbor, knowing that she liked to hear the sound of the waves crashing. He would even take a long detour just to rub shoulders with her on the street corner. Ruan Qingni didn't know. She was just watching, like watching a play where she didn't know where to go. Li Chen, your eyes are like an audience. She said one night. But I'm not an audience. He answered quickly, even with some eagerness. Underscore 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 un. 4. The night market in summer is lively and chaotic. Lanterns are hanging, and the aroma of frying is mixed with the sea breeze. They walk side by side. She wears a wide-brimmed straw hat and hides in the shadow of the light. It's noisy here. She frowned. Noisy is like life. He laughed. She stopped and looked at him, a hint of unfamiliarity flashing in her eyes. Li Chen, do you think love is too simple? He didn't understand, he only felt a slight tightness in his chest. Underscore 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 un. 5. They drank a lot that night. The river breeze under the bridge had a salty smell, blowing her long hair disheveled. If life can be frozen, I hope to stop at this moment. Li Shen couldn't help but say. Ruan Qingni looked at him, silent for a long time, but slowly shook her head. Life never freezes. You know, it just pushes people forward. Her voice was low, like a dark tide. Li Shen didn't hear the hidden farewell meaning. Underscore 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 un. 6. Li Chen began to notice something strange. She would always disappear and disappear all day. The phone is turned off, and no one knows where she went. She sometimes received strange phone calls, and her tone was cold, not at all like her usual. Once, he secretly followed her, only to see her push open the iron door of the pier and enter the darkness. When he mustered up the courage to chase after him, the door was closed. Only the smell of damp rust remained in the air. That night, he had insomnia. My mind was full of her figure and those unexplainable mysteries. Underscore 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 un. 7. Li Chen, do you know? I may have to leave at any time. She said in a dimly lit bar, close to his ear. Li Shen was stunned. Where to go? She smiled and didn't answer. That smile didn't look like a relaxed face, but like a mockery of fate. Underscore 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 un. 8. Heavy rain is coming. Lingcheng was shrouded in rain for 3 consecutive days, the streets were half flooded, and the air was stuffy like a cage. Ruan Qingni stepped into Li Shen's mother's bookstore for the first time. Her fingertips swept the dust on the bookshelf, and suddenly she whispered, "This is like a theater." Li Chen's mother chuckled, "Books are another evidence of life." At that moment, an indescribable sadness flashed in Ruan Kingni's eyes. Nine. Li Chen finally couldn't help it. Qing and I, what are you hiding? She looked at him with deep eyes, as if she had passed through the heat and humidity of the whole summer. Li Chen, is what you want is real? Some truths will ruin all your imagination of love. He wanted to reach out and grab her, but only grabbed the air. Run. 10. Summer nights returned to the arch bridge again. The shadow of the river swayed, and he stood side by side with her. Li Chen, if this is really a movie, will you accept that it has no ending? Her voice spread in the wind. His heart contracted violently, but he still replied, I just want to be with you, even if it's just for one summer. She turned her head and looked at him, but there was determination hidden in her eyes. At that moment, he suddenly understood that she was already ready to leave. 11. The rain in Lingcheng finally stopped. The sky is washed clear like a piece of polished glass. Li Chen felt even more confused. Ruan Kingni's words kept lingering in my ears, I may have to leave at any time. He began to suspect that her coming and going were not simple. At night, he dreamed that she was standing on the screen and reaching out to call him. He ran desperately, but he couldn't cross the border of the screen. Run. 12. One day, Li Shen accidentally found an old photo album under the counter of his mother's bookstore. When I opened it, the photo was yellowed. What shocked him the most was that in one of the group photos, the woman standing next to his father was exactly the same as Ruan Kingni. But the date of that photo was 20 years ago. He felt a chill in his back. Is it a coincidence? Or some kind of indissoluble connection? Run. 13. He began to ask Ruan Kingni. Did you come to Lingcheng, many years ago? She looked stunned for a moment, and then regained her composure. Li Shen, you shouldn't look for those answers. People do not live to pursue the past. He didn't give up. The persistence in her eyes made her unable to ignore. Finally, she sighed, there are some things that you may not be able to bear. Run. 14. Li Chen still followed her. One night, he saw her enter the iron gate of the pier. This time, he mustered up the courage to rush over. Behind the iron gate is not a warehouse, but a deep passage. The lights were dim, and unfamiliar signs hung on the walls, like the mark of some secret organization. Ruan Kingni stood deep in the passage and looked back at him. His eyes were complicated, both surprised and helpless. You still broken after all. Run. 15. At the end of the passage is a huge empty hall. There are several screens playing different scenes, ancient wars, futuristic streets, strange city, there are even images of Li Shen's childhood. Li Shen was stunned. What is this? Ruan Kingni approached him in a heavy tone, this is not a movie, but a record. Someone projects human memory onto the screen. Run. 16. Li Chen was chilled all over. Then why did I have my childhood? Ruan Kingni stared at him, because you have always been the object of their observation. They? An organization, a group of people who trade memories as commodities. They collect, edit, sell, and even manipulate fate. Li Shen only thought it was ridiculous. But the heaviness in her eyes made him unable to deny it. Run. 17. What about you? What do you have to do with them? Li Shen finally asked. Ruan Kingni was silent for a long time. I used to be a part of them. Her tone was like a knife, cutting through the last layer of stability in Li Chen's heart. But later, I chose to run away. Because I found that love is not a commodity. Unfortunately, it is too late. Underscore 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 un. 18. The summer night in Lingcheng became sultry again. Li Chen couldn't sleep, his mind was full of those screens. Those images pierced his eyes like needles. The next day, he went to the pier, only to find that the iron gate had been removed and the passage had disappeared as if it had never existed. Only he remembers. Only he knows. Underscore 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 un. 19. Ruan Qingni didn't explain much, she just told Li Shen lightly. If you love me, don't ask. Li Shen wanted to refuse, but when he said it, only a sigh remained. He knew he had fallen too deep. That night, he dreamed that she was standing in a rainstorm, tears mixed with rain. She whispered, "Love is not a movie, Li Chen, it is more cruel than a movie." Underscore 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 un. 20. August is coming. The heat wave in the city almost drove people crazy. The relationship between Li Chen and Ruan Qingni is like a rope being pulled, tightening more and more. One night, she suddenly said, "If one day, I disappear, will you still remember me?" Li Shen was stunned, "How could I forget?" She smiled, her smile full of desolation. "But memory may not belong to you." 21. Li Shen began to doubt his memory. He flipped through his old diary and found that some of the chapters were not written by himself. The mother also seems to be avoiding certain topics. When he asked about the cause of his father's death, his mother's eyes flickered and her tone hesitated, as if she was reciting a script that had been forcibly indoctrinated. "Li Chen, there are some things, you'd better not delve into them." Mother's voice trembled. He suddenly realized that even family affection could be an edited memory. Underscore 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 un. 22. Ruan Qingni no longer took the initiative to contact him. Her disappearance made Li Shen even more uneasy. Once, he saw her on the street, only to find her walking side by side with a strange man. The man was tall and cold, with a temperament like ice. Li Chen stepped forward to ask, but she said coldly, "This is my past." The tone was unfamiliar, as if someone had changed their vocal cords. Underscore 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 un. 23. A few days later, the man found Li Chen. "You shouldn't be near her." The man's voice was low and coercive. Li Shen asked rhetorically, "Who is she?" The man only left one sentence, "She is not the memory you should have." This sentence was like a curse, lingering in his mind. Underscore 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 un. 24. Li Shen began to hallucinate. He saw his other self in the mirror, his eyes cold and emotionless. "You think you love her, but in fact you are just implanted with desire." He in the mirror sneered. He slammed the mirror and scattered glass shards all over the floor. But in the light reflected by the fragments, he still saw countless himself and laughed at the same time. Underscore 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 un. 25. At night, he was woken up by strange sounds. The wall of the room suddenly lit up with a curtain of light, and what was broadcast in it was actually the picture of him and Ruan Qingni in the night market. However, it is not a memory, but an image in shooting. The edge of the picture is clearly visible with a cool white light stand and camera. He realized in horror that everything about him and her might have been manipulated and watched by others. Underscore 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 un. 26. Li Shen went to find Ruan Qingni. She looked haggard, as if she had been old all night. "Did you see it?" she asked softly. "Tell me the truth." Li Chen almost roared. She was silent for a long time before spitting out a sentence, "Li Chen, your life is actually a script." underscore 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 un. 27. He couldn't believe it. I have memories, I have a mother, I have a childhood, how could it be a script? Ruan Kingni's eyes were like bayonets, memories can be implanted, and family affection can also be edited. You fell in love with me, maybe it was just their arrangement. Li Chen's whole body trembled, but he was eager to grasp the truth. What about you? Are you real? She was red-eyed, but didn't answer. Underscore 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 un. 28. Late one night, Li Chen was taken away by a stranger. An unlicensed black car was parked in front of the bookstore, and several people wearing sunglasses escorted him into the car. The car passed through the most remote road in Lingcheng and finally stopped in front of an abandoned movie theater. On the gate of the cinema, there is a rusted sign. Memory Depository. Underscore 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 un. 29. In the dark hall, countless screens flickered at the same time. Each screen is playing a different life. There are the birth of children, the hugs of lovers, and the wailing of the elderly. A man in a white robe came over and said to him coldly, Li Chen, you are also a fragment here. Li Chen's eyes widened and he roared, nonsense. The man just smiled faintly, you don't believe it because we gave you realistic enough emotions. Underscore 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 un. 30. The screen suddenly flickered. He saw his encounter with Ruan Qingni and was watched by countless audiences. In the audience, some people applauded, some shed tears, and some even yawned. This is not love, this is entertainment. The man in the white robe said coldly. You, treat us as a play. Li Chen was cold. On the screen, Ruan Qingni suddenly turned her head and looked straight at him through the image. She whispered. Li Chen, don't fall in love in summer. 31. In the dark cinema, the screen flickered incessantly. Li Chen was forced to sit in the audience, and mocking laughter and applause came from all around. He suddenly understood that he was not an actor, let alone an audience, but a role to be consumed. You can't decide my life. He shouted. The man in the white robe smiled lightly, your life is no longer yours. From the moment you were born, you are a memory that has been edited. Underscore 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 un. 32. That night, Li Shen was put back in the bookstore. He was in a cold sweat and couldn't tell what was real and what was illusion. His mother handed him a glass of water, her eyes flickering. Shen'er, are you, what do you see? Li Shen stared at her and suddenly found that her mother's eyes reflected lights that did not belong to the home, like an afterimage on the screen. His heart sank, even his mother may be a scripted character. Underscore 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 un. 33. Li Shen went to find Ruan Qingni. As soon as she saw him, tears welled up in her eyes. You shouldn't have broken in. I need the truth. Li Chen grabbed her shoulder. She trembled and finally spat out the words. Li Chen, I was once the heroine of that organization. My mission is to make you fall in love with me. Underscore 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 un. 34. What? Li Chen's whole body stiffened. Ruan Qingni nodded cryingly. They design love as the highest value plot, and the audience will pay anything for it. My existence is to ensure that your life can impress them. What about you now? She bit her lip and whispered, I rebelled. Because I really fell in love with you. Underscore 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 un. 35. Li Cheng's heart was as deep as a knife. Do you love me? Is it part of the plot, or is it real? Ruan Qingni reached out and touched his face, her voice choked up. At first, it was a plot, but later I can't tell. But now, I'm sure it's true. Li Chen's whole body trembled. This is the answer he longs for the most, but it is also the cruelest truth. 36. That night, they hugged each other tightly. Li Chen closed her eyes, and her rapid breathing and heartbeat were in her ears. He thought, even if everything was false, this moment at least belonged to them. But in the early morning, Ruan Qingni disappeared. Only her hairpin was left in the room, cold, like a broken oath. _ 37. Li Chen was looking for her frantically. He breaks into the docks, breaks into abandoned neighborhoods, and even runs to the wasteland on the edge of the city. Everywhere was like a fantasy, and the screen-like images were constantly flickering, making it impossible for him to tell if he was still in the story. Until one night, he saw her in a dream. She was locked in a huge glass jar, surrounded by the cold faces of countless spectators. _ 38. Li Shen decided to resist. He finds a former editor, an old man who escaped from the organization. The old man told him, memories are not unbreakable. What you have to do is make sure that the screen can no longer carry the audience's gaze. How? Love her, love so much that the story cannot be edited. The old man's voice was hoarse. _ 39. Li Chen infiltrated the memory depository. The surrounding screens were like the eyes of a giant beast, blinking and blinking. He finally saw Ruan Qingni, who was imprisoned in the center of the stage, her body wrapped in transparent threads, like a puppet. Li Chen, she cried out in a low voice. Tears slid down her face. The man in the white robe said coldly, you shouldn't come. Love is just a script for fun, not something you can rewrite. _ 40. Li Shen shouted, love is not a script. He rushed forward and tore the transparent threads. The screen began to shake violently, the picture was disordered, and noisy exclamations came from the audience. Ruan Qingni fell into his arms and hugged him tightly tremblingly. The voice of the man in the white robe sounded in the chaos, you think you won? Li Chen, your love is just a more exciting ending. The screen shattered, and the light and shadow scattered. Li Chen and Ruan Qingni were engulfed in a dazzling white light. 41. The white light dissipated, and Li Shen opened his eyes suddenly. In front of him was a strange city, lined with high-rise buildings, clean streets, and cloudless sky. Ruan Qingni was beside him, but her whole body was trembling. Here, it's not Ling Cheng. She muttered. The surrounding electronic screens lit up at the same time, and a voice sounded. Welcome to the real world. _ 42. The sound comes from a loudspeaker in the air. That was the voice of the man in the white robe. Ling Cheng is just a stage. What you call life is a fragment that the audience buys. The real world is only here. Li Shen couldn't believe it. What about my childhood? Mother? All memories, are they all fake? No. The voice replied coldly, they are real, but they belong to someone else. _ 43. Ruan Qingni broke down and cried. I knew. For a long time it's just that I can't tell you. Li Chen held her hand with firm eyes. Whether it's true or not, you are my only truth. She looked at him in a daze, and her tears finally turned into a smile. _ 44. Soon, they were hunted. In this real city, there are surveillance cameras and guards everywhere. Li Chen and Ruan Qingni fled through the smooth streets, and the electronic screen above their heads kept playing their images, marked escape sample. The crowd watched indifferently, with no one to help. For them, Li Chen and Ruan Qingni are just a free play. Underscore 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 un. 45. They hid in an abandoned building. Outside the window, countless drones hovered and buzzed. Ruan Qingni suddenly squeezed his hand. Li Chen, maybe we really can't escape. But, we can at least choose the ending. What is the ending? It belongs to us, not theirs. Underscore 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 un. 46. On the top floor of the building, the sound of the wind is hunting. Li Chen and Ruan Qingni stood side by side on the edge. Countless spectators gathered in the square below, looking up with excited eyes in their eyes, waiting for an orgasm. The voice of the man in the white robe sounded again, jump down, let love complete the perfection of tragedy. Underscore 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 un. 47. Li Shen hugged Ruan Qingni tightly. We are not a tragedy. He whispered in her ear, if memories can be stolen, let's leave new ones. It belongs to our summer. Ruan Qingni's tears flashed and she nodded heavily. Underscore 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 un. 48. They didn't jump down. Instead, they grabbed each other at the same time, stepped back, and rushed into the depths of the building. Amid the shouts of countless pursuers, they found a half-closed door, and behind it was pitch black. Li Chen, this may be a trap. Whether it's a trap or an illusion, I want to be with you. Underscore 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 un. 49. In the darkness, the screen suddenly lit up again. This time, there was no spectator on the screen, no manipulators. Only Li Chen and Ruan Qingni walked side by side on the summer night streets of Lingcheng. The night market is lit up, the sea breeze is blowing, everything is quiet and real. This, is it our world? She asked softly. Li Chen looked at her and smiled. Whether it's or not, I choose to believe it. Underscore 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 un. 50. The summer night breeze blows gently. They stopped at the arch bridge, just like their initial encounter. Ruan Qingni looked up at him, there was no concealment in her eyes, only naked love. Li Chen, don't fall in love in summer. She whispered again. Why? Because summer will end. He squeezed her hand tightly, his eyes firm. Then let's let it not end. The screen gradually went out and the lights disappeared. Only they were left, holding each other's hands tightly, and the never-ending summer night.